Ed Knoll has asked me to talk to you about some of the technology toys that I was experimenting with towards the end of last year, and one of those toys that I've been experimenting with is something called the Wacom tablet. I see the Wacom tablet as a kind of John Madden telestrator for teachers. It's simply a device that allows you to write on PowerPoint slides. It allows you to draw arrows. It allows you to draw circles. It allows you to pretty much, do whatever you want to do. Now, you can use it for stupid things like this. Which what do you call those little things? I found it very effective, however, when I was talking about either Renaissance works of art or political cartoons, because it would allow me to emphasize things, I think, in a much more effective way. Now, again, I know PowerPoint allows you to do the same thing. I mean, you can draw circles and you can draw arrows, and you can even use your laser pointer. But I found that when I tend to use this device, kids tend to be a little bit more attentive. I'm not exactly sure why. This is also very, very effective when you're talking about maps. And I'm talking about maps all the time. In theory, because my Wacom tablet is wireless, I could actually even throw. I think sometimes they're attentive because they want to see whether or not I can spell all these words. And most of them I can. Because it's wireless, I can just throw this tablet at a kid and say, all right, how many of these things can you fill out? Go nuts. Again, it's an interesting tool, and I'm still learning how to use it most effectively. It's a toy. The other thing that I've been experimenting with quite a bit is the idea of screencasting my PowerPoint presentations. Now, a screencast is nothing more than a digital video recording that captures actions taking place on a computer desktop. So by using video capture software, you can actually make a video of whatever is appearing on your screen, as I'm doing right now. This is a screencast. After you've completed this video, you upload that video to YouTube so that anyone can view it at their own leisure. These screencasts often contain voice-over narration. Obviously, that's what I'm doing right now. But it's the ease at which kids can access these things, which I think is really the selling point. I mean, you can watch these screencasts of PowerPoint presentations on your computer at home. You can watch it on your iPad. You could even be watching these things as you wait for the bus on your smartphone. In order to do this, you need pretty much only two things other than time. You need video capture software, and you need a microphone. The video capture software that I'm using now to create this screencast is something called Snagit. It cost me about $40. Oops. Which I thought was a really good investment. Now, there are freeware programs out there that allow you to do this. When Billy explained Edline to us, he used a screencast in order to do that. And he used a freeware program that maybe you want to play with to begin with, called Cam Studio. I played around with it. I didn't find it as user-friendly as Snagit, so it was to Snagit that I went. If anybody wants to learn any more about the specifics of this, certainly I'll be happy to talk about this. But why would you bother to even do this? I mean, it seems like it takes an awful lot of time, which it does. And one of the reasons why I've done it is because they're very useful when students are absent. When I teach seniors, especially in the month of May, I've got kids missing because of logos. I get kids missing because of AP exams. So all I need to really do is create screencasts of my PowerPoint presentations. And in May, I created 4 15-minute screencasts of the end of the war in Vietnam and the Watergate scandal. So that if you were absent, which a number of my students were, all you had to do was watch these screencasts, which had been uploaded to YouTube, at your leisure. And while a kid might miss the class, he did not miss the content of that class. There are also very useful ways for students to review material already covered in class. My freshmen seemed to always struggle with the French Revolution, so I created 4 15-minute screencasts on the French Revolution, and they would then look at those screencasts after the class had already been taught. And I thought this was especially helpful for my weaker students. They kind of get a double dose of the French Revolution. So it's very good review, especially just before an exam. They're very efficient ways to upload PowerPoints to Edline. My freshmen are always wanting me to upload PowerPoint. Want to know when my PowerPoint is going to be uploaded, but these PowerPoints are very huge files, and it's very awkward to do it. But I think just converting these PowerPoints, 150 slides, to a 15-minute screencast uploaded to Edline is going to be the way to go. So, efficient way to upload PowerPoints to Edline. And then finally, they're great ways for teachers to fast forward through certain topics. There are certain topics that I know I have to cover because of what comes later, but they're topics that I just don't enjoy teaching. The origins of the Age of Exploration is one of my least favorite topics to talk about, but I know you've got to do it. So what I ended up doing was to create a screencast on the origins of the Age of Exploration. My students watched this 15-minute screencast as homework. They took some notes on it, which I looked at and graded, and then they took a quiz. And then that allowed me to pick up from that particular point without actually having to teach that material in class. Ed Schroeder is always complaining about how much time I spend on the Greeks and the Romans, and maybe this might be a way for me to more efficiently cover some of that material. I might even get up to the 19th century and maybe end up covering some of the things that Ed is actually paid to teach. I thought I would show you a very brief excerpt of that Origins of the Age of Exploration screencast, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So here we go. So it is a desire to maintain control of the Moluccas, which is going to motivate Western Europe to actively involve themselves in this cause. China, as we know, is also an area of interest because of porcelain and because of gold and because of silk and because of rare woods and jewels. But by the 15th century, the problem area was this region right here. As we said in 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured the city of Constantinople, so that by the 15th century, this whole area is being controlled by Muslims. And Muslims are in an excellent position to extract revenue, to extract taxes, to extract middleman profits on any of the goods that are originating in the Spice Islands, continuing on up into China, and then on into Western Europe. So what Western Europe decides to do, principally the Portuguese and the Spanish, is to try to find alternative routes to bypass these middlemen who are draining profits away from their trade. So there you go. Really exciting stuff. But again, I think it's very valuable for especially our weaker student to have just another opportunity to learn in a slightly different way at their own pace. The third thing that I want to talk about is the idea of inserting edited YouTube clips into PowerPoints. There's just a lot of phenomenal YouTube clips out there, but I've always had difficulty kind of seamlessly inserting them into my PowerPoints. I always thought it was really kind of awkward to do it. And it wasn't until PowerPoint 2010, followed by 2013, which we're using right now, that whole process has become an awful lot easier. So what I want to do is talk about how to do that. You know, you've got a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation, but you only want to insert just this small portion here. Now, how do you go about doing that? Now, the first thing you need to do is to somehow get that YouTube clip into your computer, onto your hard drive as an MP4 file. Now, how do you do that? Now, there's a number of free YouTube downloaders out there. And the one that I've utilized is something called Free YouTube Downloader. Now, it's a freeware program, and you always have to be very careful about downloading freeware from the web, because you never know what you're going to end up getting. But this one has been recognized by some of the technology publications out there as being a very effective and efficient YouTube downloader. Anyway, what I'm going to try to do is walk you through this process. It's really not difficult at all. Now, this is going to require me to get out of my YouTube or my PowerPoint. So please bear with me. This may or may not work. Do you want to keep your ink annotations? No, we will get rid of those. Now what I've got to do is open up. Oh, that's not what I wanted. What am I doing? What I wanted to do was to open up. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I wanted to open up my free YouTube downloader. And there it is. It's very simple. I've already gone to YouTube, and no, I don't want to update right now. I've already gone to YouTube, and I have copied the URL of the clip that I want to use. What I'm going to do is insert. I'm going to paste that in there. This is a clip of Winston Churchill's Iron Curtain speech. So now I'm going to download it. Again, I hope this all works properly. Churchill's Sinews of Peace speech. Now, it's going to automatically dump it into a folder on my hard drive. The folder is videos, so it's going to be rather easy to find. So now I'm going to, let me close that, get that out of there. I'm going to open up my PowerPoint again. I'm going to go to a blank slide, and I'm going to insert. I'm going to insert that 5-minute Winston Churchill clip. So click Insert, click Video, and here it is right here. This is Churchill's Sinews of Peace speech. So I highlight it, insert it, and boom, there it is. But again, this is the 5-minute clip, and I don't want to show all 5 minutes of it. So what do I do to just show the portion that I want? In 2010 and in 2013, under Video Tools, you have a Playback tab. I'm going to click that Playback, and I'm going to trim video. It says Trim Video. Click Trim Video. Boom. Went through that pretty quickly. Now I'm going to start playing it. This green arrow bar is where the clip that I want to show is going to begin, but I need to put that in place first. So let me start out by playing it.
It is my duty to place before you certain facts about the present position in Europe.
Boom. So I know that the part that I really want, the iconic Winston Churchill statement, actually begins right after that introduction. So I don't need that introduction. So I move that green, I don't know what that is, bar, clip, to that spot right there. Now I'm going to begin playing it again, and I'm going to pause where I want my clip to end.
From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent.
Boom. So that's all I want. I just want that iconic statement. So green is where the clip begins. Now red is going to be where the clip ends. And I'm going to move it, and I'm going to put it right where, boom. So that's the clip right there. Not 5 minutes, but what is it, 9 seconds. Click OK. And it should be ready to go. At this point, there's a mistake I always make, and that is it automatically defaults to pause. And what I want is that as soon as I click on that slide, the clip begins. So I need to change it from pause to play. So let's go back to my PowerPoint, see how this all works out. So here they are. They are in Fulton, Missouri. Let me get my pen again. We're in Fulton, Missouri. Here's our man Winston Churchill. Here's Harry. Notice we are in Fulton, Missouri. Lee Harvey Oswald. And let's see whether or not, as I move to the next slide, whether or not Winston Churchill's speech begins and ends where it's supposed to. So let's see.
From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent.
Has descended across the continent. I almost got it, but at least you get the idea. Again, it's a lot easier to do, editing, inserting than it used to. So there's some of the things that I've been playing around with. You know, you've got the Wacom tablet, which again might be at this point in my teaching career kind of a toy, but it's been fun to play around with. I got a feeling you're going to hear an awful lot more about screencasting in the future. I think I'm going to utilize it a lot more this year than even I did in May. And then certainly the idea of inserting edited YouTubes into PowerPoint presentations. I can see myself spending probably a lot more time than I should playing around with that particular technology. Anyway, those are the things that I've been playing around with. If any of you want any additional information, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask. Thanks.